You're listening to another episode of the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Here is your host, Dean Basic.
Welcome to another episode. My name is Dean Vassy. You can find me on X at Hashtag Kangas, Instagram, Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Tonight we are back for the round table, which happens a couple of times a year with fellow podcast hosts and guys that do it better than me. Bailey Tyson, I fucked up your name there, from the Shinboners podcast, and the one and only, and also one of the few people that believe CCJ should be playing ahead of Cooper Trembath. And don't even get him started on Tom Powell. Josh,
it's not true, Dean.
Boys, thanks for coming on. Josh, you got a right or reply there? So the floor is yours.
You're hearing what you want to hear, Dean. There, I think. I think I'll have you know, my first ever 22 in January, I said he might play a second ruck with Trembath in the team. So it's just we're going all talls, no smalls, mate. If you're below 6 foot, good luck. You're not in my team.
No, that makes sense. Bailey, anything else you want to add to that?
Oh, it might not be much of a team because most of our players are about 5'8". But
it's all our midfielders, to be fair. So
glad to be back, Dean. Thanks for having us.
No, thanks for coming on, boys. Really appreciate it. It's always tough trying to get everyone on with the same schedule. I know Josh has got another podcast coming up in an hour, so we're going to have to smash this out. So let's get straight into it. And the seasoning is upon us. Bailey, I'm going to start with you. And how have you seen the pre-season? Is the Chief okay, more importantly?
No, he's not. Look, it's
he's never been okay.
It's a bit of panic stations early doors for him. But yeah, obviously being located in Tassie, we can't get along to training and see the boys lighting up the track as they always are this time of year. So I only got the 2 pre-season games to go on, and for 6 quarters it was really alarming. But saw a bit of a fight back against the Pies and got not the 4 points, but got the winning feeling back in the locker room. We could take the 4 points. We probably need it to start.
To be honest, yeah.
But yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. But besides Hardeman, a clean bill of health. So I suppose that's the positive to take away.
No, fair enough. We should be getting Colin McKercher back this week as well, which will be good. Josh, great stuff in the off-season, by the way. Did a live show with Cooper Trembath and Tess Craven as guests for that show. You can still check that show with the podcast form. It only goes back a few weeks. Have you calmed down and stopped blaming Tom Powell for that terrible game against the Demons?
Jeez, I'm getting some daggers from you, Dean, today. I've graciously given up my time, and here we are. Look, apparently I just hate everybody who plays for North Melbourne. I think everyone but Colin McKercher, a fellow Tassie lad. So, look, Tom Powell is... I want to blame Tom Powell for everything, to be honest. No, I like Tom Powell. You guys are the reason this rumour still exists for me. All my comments and stuff, it's all the time. So let's see what allegations I come out with from this podcast today.
Well, just to be clear, now, it was a couple of years ago, I think, Josh, that you sort of said, the only thing with Tom Powell is he's not as clean. I think that was the only thing you said about him, and about 10 people came in and sort of said, why doesn't Josh like Tom Powell? Why does he think he's shit? Why does he think he should be out of the team? It was like, it went out of control.
Bit of a pile-on, yeah. I felt like I said he's pretty good apart from this one element of his game, and then everyone was like, why do you hate him? But look, we're all on the internet. We see what it is. If you're not 100% for something, you're 100% against it, apparently. So I copped the internet, unfortunately.
No, that's it. You're either with us or against us. Simple as that. What have you liked so far? What have been some of the positives for you, Bailey?
Well, it's probably personnel-wise so far. Obviously, Tom Blamiers, what we saw from him against the Pies was really positive. I think Finn O'Sullivan's had a huge pre-season. Cooper Trembath looks like he's just been on the Will Dawson diet from last year and put on a ton of weight as well. So some of the growth that we've seen early days in limited minutes, that is. But from some of the youngsters that will be the key to hopefully getting us up the ladder. And so far it's hard to sort of say about the back shoulder defending that's been highlighted throughout. But some of the positives is more sort of personnel. I'm not sure we've seen a great deal of change in game style as of yet.
No, it certainly doesn't look like that at the moment. But a few good mentions there. I think we'll talk about Cooper Trembath. I'm sure at some point, and the lack of game time he's probably had in the first couple of games. But Josh, some positives for you. What have you liked?
Well, I've been a little bit more positive on our pre-season. Not saying it's all rosy and we're going to make finals, but I don't think we've been quite as diabolical as people think, and I'm a little bit confused as to why people are as negative as they are. when I was at the Ballarat game and I was pretty impressed. Impressed is a strong word. I thought our defending was fine, and I think I can see what we're trying to do, and I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it at all, and I guess maybe this is something to throw back on everybody because I feel like I'm being a bit delusional, but in my head I'm not. But how negative everybody is being about our preseason, I feel like I am. Like, I don't think our defenders got beat one-on-one much at all in that game, and I think, we sort of tried to flood the back line, which I haven't seen before. We tried to push the ball forward. It wasn't overly quick moving the ball out of the back line in Ballarat, but what I did notice is we had numbers. We always had plenty of numbers to relieve some pressure and then find a kick out wide. And we have to get quicker at moving the ball so we can find space. But I wasn't too... I don't have the alarm bells like a lot of people do. Like, do you guys think I'm being crazy? Because there's some positives I would have taken from it, but everyone else seems to feel differently.
Oh, you go, Bailey. You can answer that.
I think the major alarms were the personnel. Obviously, Collingwood had a lot out. You're not conceding goals from the Dacosses and the Elliots. You've got Jack Buller looking like a gun centre-half forward who barely got a kick a couple of nights ago against the Saints. So I think that was sort of the concern. And I don't know, I might have a different view, but if all pre-season we've heard the boys, starting to mention finals, and we've seen the change, make it happen as the slogan. And as a smaller club, you want to bring your members along. And when you start with an 80-point thrashing to a rebounding Melbourne side, match scrim it may be, and then to still concede 90-odd points or whatever it was against basically the glorified Collingwood twos, I probably took a couple of positives, but certainly not the same amount.
No, fair enough, Bailey. And I think the concern is we do go back to that Melbourne game, and things they talked about and hyped up. They kind of didn't do. They pretty much witches hats that game, and there was a few concerns. Our entries inside 50 is still lacking at the moment, but albeit pre-season. But there's certainly been some good positives. Finn O'Sullivan in midfield going through there, I think looked pretty good. I think he's going to emerge into a really good player. Tom Blamires, I think you mentioned him, Bailey. He looks really good. Griffin Logue, I think, has been solid for the first couple of weeks. We certainly need a key defender that can do something. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him.
Lockie Davison as well. Another one.
Yeah, Lockie Davison, very good. Jai Simpkin on a wing has looked pretty good. So there has been some positives, but what were they your main concerns, Bailey? Just going into that, were just got over the line against the Collingwood seconds, and we made a couple of players that look pretty good that aren't exactly world beaters. Jack Buller couldn't get a game at Sydney, so are they your main concerns at the moment?
Yeah, and it was highlighted well. We had a bit of a listener Q&A that your sides like Geelong and Brisbane that can just turn it on. So they don't really get alarmed if they have a big defeat in the preseason. But, we're entering year what feels like 1,000 of this rebuild. So I think the preseason games might mean a little bit more for us, and we want to sort of get the fan base excited in what is hoping to turn out to be a leap year for us. So, I suppose it's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I think for a lot of people it was signs of a story we've seen far too often.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you lose to Melbourne by 80 points, and then we start thinking about the last 5 years where we've won 20 games. Josh, you seem a lot more positive than us, but concerns for you in the going into the season?
I think the pace with which we moved the ball off the back line. Like I said, I liked seeing... There was a point, I've said this on my pod a couple of times, but I took a photo of the field when I noticed our entire team was in our back 50 in the third quarter and sometimes in the fourth. And it says to me we're trying to really compact the area, not give anyone space. And then when we tried to transition it, we always had options, which was good. I don't think we turned the ball over on half back anywhere near as much as we did last year. But then when we did move it forward, it wasn't as quick as it probably needs to be compared to a lot of other teams in the league. The other thing, the most alarming thing, two things really. The ruck still scares me a lot. The only thing that makes me feel better about that is every team, bar like 2 or 3, are going to suffer compared to it just being us. You look at it like a Nankervis or even Gawn, as good as he is around the ground. Those guys are in their mid-30s. Like, what are they going to be able to do? At least Sherry is 26 and maybe can adapt a little bit better. But I think the worst thing for me was I thought we got the ball off half-back even though it was slow, we moved the ball okay, but the entry into the 50 is still abysmal. Did that mean Lockie Doverston could crumb a few and get some on the outside of packs? Yeah, and I think he'll help us with our poor entry, but still there was no kicks to leads barely. I mean, Blamires did a great one for sort of from the wing late in the second to get Paul Curtis a shot in the pocket against the Pies. And there was a couple of hit-ups, which you'd expect from AFL players, but the biggest concern for me was the way we entered into the 50. That doesn't look like it's changed at all. My only hope is Doverston kicks, 60, because we still can't kick into the forward line. He's crumbing everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of hoofball into the forward 50. It's not lowering the eyes at all. Yeah, we get the ball in good positions from half back, get it to about 70, 80 metres out, and then we just slow down and think, let's just kick it 30 metres out.
But we used to do that off half back. Do you remember when it was like prime Zach Fisher half back years? Or even like LMAC 2-3 years ago, and we would get the ball at half back and we'd be bombing it then. The thing that I liked of what we did, even though once again, it's not fast enough and we need to improve, was we got the ball over halfway fairly cleanly. But then when we did that and we had time to lower our eyes, we still bombed it. So we're getting the ball forward a little bit more and, closer to the forward 50, which means you should be able to hit a target a little bit better. And we still just blazed away. The weather was atrocious. Like, it was probably one of the windiest games I've ever been to before up there. But, we had a lot of scoring shots. That's a positive, but the entry is just abysmal. And I don't know. Good luck to Larky and Trent. Trembath's going to take a lot of hangers. That's all I'll say.
Well, he's got to get a game first.
If he plays. Sorry, CCJ will take a lot of hangers. My bad.
Yeah, of course. Can't forget him and Jack Darling as well. Look, just bear with me here, Bailey. For me, it still relies on individual talent to win your games. I think Sheasel and LDU had 67 touches between them against Collingwood. I don't think it's a midfield dominance is not a recipe for success long term. It will win you games here and there, but it's a system that will prevail. So that's still a concern for me there as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And just going on game trends, watching the 5 games over the past week, what we see a lot is how reliant teams are on precision use and speed, leg speed. And I think that's a major concern for us outside of Colby and a couple others. And that's why I think we might see Robbie Hanson Jr. a bit earlier than first anticipated off half back. Yes, he may lack defensively, but I thought especially that game against Collingwood, he really did some nice things by foot. So there are also a couple of rooms of concern. Being able to transition the ball, we've seen, as Josh mentioned, in the past few years, we just sort of bomb it long, particularly from kick-ins. Not a lot of creativity, just kick it high and long and hope Nick Larkey, who's not that player, is going to take 10 contested marks a game. So I thought we did some okay transition stuff, hitting those 45 kicks through the corridor. I thought Jai linked in pretty well with that as well. But yeah, that's for us to take it to the next level. We really need to work on our precision kicking. Unfortunately, players can't get faster, at least not that much anyway. So Goda is the great white hope once again, as being able to put a bit more drive off half back. But yeah, they're sort of a few more of areas of concern coming into this season.
We certainly have to get him fit, and Riley Hardiman will make a big difference as well. Good long kick. Well, we might as well stick with the back line. Josh, it seems to be the talking point this year, and the lack of quality there. I think Kane Corns has made that very public. The tools, it looks like the first round are going to be Toby Pink, Charlie Coleman and Griffin Logue for round 1. Are you confident that they can at least hold it up for the first 6 weeks? I mean, I think the only one that might come back in is Aiden Core. But he's still a fair way away with fitness. And I'll get your thoughts on Will Dawson soon too, Bailey. But are you confident with those 3 as your pillars in the defence?
Probably not, but it's all we've got, really, to be honest.
That's right.
And, Toby Pink surprised us last year. I didn't think he'd be anywhere near as good as he was. If he can do that, Griffin Logue's first pre-season, we all were fairly impressed with him against the Pies. Why can't he improve our defence a lot this year? And Charlie Comben's a young player who had a couple of howlers in that game, but he's one that I do trust will learn from that and come back. So, our defence for me this year has to marginally improve. If we can win from ball from stoppage and our forward line, which look at all the scoring chances we created against the Pies, if we can get a ball into the 50 and create chances and try, I can guarantee you guys, if we would have beat the Pies by 5-6 goals if there wasn't anywhere near as much. It was raining, it was windy, it was awful. The fact they kicked as straight as they did, I mean, most of their goals were really close, but it was insane what they did. So I think our backline, even if it just marginally improves, which I think a fit Logue, like him or not, I think a fit McDonald in there helps. Hardiman, another year into him. I think we can improve enough to get us to a 12th-ish on the ladder, and I know that's not the goal, but for this season, I think they can improve marginally enough to get us maybe pushing a slight wild card, maybe falling short, but 12th, 13th on the ladder. The hole we've been in is crazy, and if we can finish around 12th-ish, I think that's a really good season. I think this defence can get us to there, and then it probably stops. So is this going to be the defence that's going to get us into the finals? Absolutely not, but Logue can probably be a piece of it. Comben definitely is, and if we can say we recruit a really good defender one next year or two, maybe we can move forward with them. So I think the defence can be good enough to beat teams around us and move up a little bit, but it's probably not going to take us past that. But against the Power, where you got Georgiades and not much more up there, I think we can do it.
I think Marshall's gone the back line for them this year as well. So looks like they're going to go a bit smaller with their forward line this year. Bailey, are you surprised that there's been really no sight of Will Dawson, even in the practice matches, that they've gone with the experience? Because he is a part of the future, Will Dawson. I thought they might have given him a game last week, maybe ahead of Pink, but I'm not too sure. I think Josh is pretty high on Toby Pink by the looks of it. But yeah, you're a little bit surprised that he hasn't got a look in at the moment?
I am. And I suppose that was another negative to sort of come out of the pre-season. We pretty much rolled the same team out both weeks. Matt Whitlock, another one just off the top of my head. I would have loved to see him get a go in the senior team in the pre-season games. But Will Dawson, I'm pretty high on him and what he can achieve. It's going to take a lot of growth. We saw him do a really good job on Sam Darcy, and then he got taken to the cleaners by McLean a couple of weeks after. So still plenty to learn. But yeah, I was really shocked that he didn't get an opportunity at least to sort of see how he'd gel with the other keys. And just on the defence as a whole, we've seen Clarko in the past. I know listeners and fans of the footy club hate the comparisons to Hawthorn, but when he had a really good defensive system, it didn't really matter as much in the personnel. So I'm sort of hoping that's where we can make our leap, because we don't have any world beaters down there. We've got Pink will try his heart out. Chom has the gap between his best and worst is probably too big at the moment. And then Logue, he's a licorice all sorts, what we'll get from him. So sort of hoping that the defensive system can cover some of the deficiencies in the key defenders we have back there.
They need help up the field too, don't they, Josh? I mean, it's got to be team defence, because if they don't get help up the field, then it doesn't matter who you have back there. You could have the greatest back six in the world. If there's zero pressure like there was in that Melbourne game, the transition's going to be far too easy. We looked a little bit slow on the outside as well. So if we don't get help up the field, then it doesn't matter who you have back there, I guess, Josh.
Well, that's one of the big improvements I saw from the Melbourne to the Collingwood game. Was the Melbourne game, I mean, am I trying to be too positive? Potentially, but the Suns got absolutely destroyed in that. They kicked 4 goals against the Saints in that same game, and no one cared. No one cared. They just moved on. But for us, it's the end of the world. And I think you've either got to decide, does preseason matter as a whole or does it not? Because at the moment, a lot of the fan base, and look, people can think what they want, and that's their opinion, but we're sort of saying the D's game is what we're focusing on, and then the Pies one we're going to write off because they were missing some players. And I think you kind of got to have one attitude or the other, where both matter or both don't. So for me, the D's game was abysmal. It was a shocker. But it's a match sim. It looked like a lot of those players were cruising and didn't care at all. It was really, really bad. It was one of the worst. I mean, I had an hour-long rant on my podcast about that, and rightly so. But then the week after, and this is why, I don't think many people are talking about this in the defence. I don't know if it came across on broadcast or not, but definitely at the ground, we flooded that back line. I've never seen North do that. There was every single player bar Zerha was in that back 50 at the late stages of the game when the game was close. And what that did was that allowed us to transition the ball cleaner, not quick enough, but cleaner from the back line to the forward line. We defended really well in the last 5 minutes of that game. We gave them one shot at goal, they kicked a point, and that's it. And other than that, we locked them up. At the end of the second quarter, we broke all of their momentum. They didn't score or have any red time shots, which we give up for fun in previous years, and we created 2 shots of our own. And that's nothing I saw in the D's game. So regardless of what team they rolled out, that's not our fault. We can only play who was there on the day. But you've got to give North some credit for tactically changing what we did in our backline, flooding that area. Our pressure was fantastic at the end of that second quarter and through the third and fourth in bad conditions. We won the ball at ground level. We pushed it forward, and we did use it fairly cleanly, albeit kind of slow off half back. So I saw those midfielders push down and be a link in those chains. LDU even got a couple of intercept marks around the back 50, which I've never seen in my lifetime, to be honest. So it does look like work rate has improved. And in that D's game, absolutely not. But I'm taking more from that Collingwood game because it's more of a proper match sim. It was against a better opponent, all being missing players, I understand. But I think you had Hardiman and McKercher. They're probably our 2 most important transition players off that back line as well. So you put those 2 in there with the midfield looking like they're pushing down closer to the defenders. I think they're going to be getting more support. Unless they just did something random in that Pies game and they're going to go back to something against Port, I'll be absolutely baffled. But I did like that change defensively. It's more of a team defense thing and move it as a group forward against the Pies, which is the only time I've seen it. But let's hope we see it against the Power.
Do you think the windy conditions had anything to do with that? Going against the wind, they probably thought, let's just drop numbers back? Or do you think it might be a tactic that we use during the season?
Well, they weren't doing it in the first half. It only happened in the second half. We've played windy games before. Last year, Tassie's been a windy fortress for years for us. Over in Perth, in Bunbury, I'm sure that was blowing a gale. And they've never done anything like that. I mean, you've got Logue, you've got that back shoulder defending. I don't think our defenders got beat one-on-one at all. Griffin Logue had a fantastic moment against Lipinski, or was it McQuarrie? Maybe McQuarrie. And it was a one-on-one, it was a foot race, and he beat him. He stopped the ball, he turned, he relieved the danger, handballed it off, and we went back to our transition. And once again, nowhere near far enough, but I don't think our defenders got beat one-on-one. And yes, that's got to do with the conditions as well. But I think we played the back shoulder okay in that game, as good as we could have. And we swept up and we won the ball at ground level. We caused stoppage and we slowly moved the ball forward. So I don't know. I think all we can sit here and say is I think we need to back the team a bit more and say that was Clarkson hopefully doing that. If we don't do it against Port, maybe it was the conditions. But I think we need to have a little bit more faith with the team to say that was a tactical thing and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, you've got no choice but to have a bit more faith at this day and age. So
that's all we got, Dean.
Yeah, that's it. We've got hope. But sometimes it's the hope that kills you as well. Now, I've got a lot of comments recently about Caleb Daniel Bailey. A lot of people are sort of coming in. I know Josh is a staunch supporter of Caleb Daniel. Sort of staunch. But, yeah, a lot of people are calling for his head. I thought he was actually probably our best player against Melbourne. He's very undersized. How do you feel about Caleb Daniel this year? Are you high on him, or are you sort of around the middle, or you think, like other supporters have sort of said, no, he shouldn't be getting a game?
I agree. Just off the top, I thought he was one of our best against the D's. Not that was hard to make the best list that day.
Illustrious list.
But yeah, with CD, I think at the moment he's probably in the last sort of 4 or 5 picked, off in my side anyway. You'd be hoping that he's not the lock that we've seen in previous years where the clubs just pick players even when they're out of form. We hope that someone comes and goes past him. His good's really good. The game against Richmond last year where he pushed higher up the ground, he wasn't taking the kick-ins. He was getting his disposal around the 50-metre mark and hitting, using his precision short kicking onto the wing. When he's asked to do the long kicks from the kick-outs or from full-back, he really struggles. So, and then, of course, we know that he's a defensive, he tries, but with his size, he's a defensive liability. So hoping that he can start the season well, but I think the frustration with him is high and that he'll be fighting for his position tooth and nail come round 1. But I think he'll start in the side, but how long he lasts there, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I think David King and Lee Montagna highlighted a few of his defensive concerns last year. They mentioned it quite a few times. You sort of said he does try defensively. I don't know if he does sometimes. He sort of gets lost and tries to chase kicks a little bit too much. So that's going to be an interesting development. Look, I've got no doubt he'll play early in the year. But if we're struggling and you've got Josh Goder looking pretty good in the reserves if he can stay fit, Riley Hardiman, Luke McDonald, Colin McKercher, then he's certainly going to be on the fringes. And I agree with you there. Actually, I never really looked at it, but when he's probably on a defensive wing, he seems to. Be a lot better with his ball use as opposed to taking kick-outs, where sometimes he tries to bite off too much and has been prone to the odd turnover.
Just
all right,
one more.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
I raised this point on our pod yesterday, but I think the obvious player comparison for CD is Dane Zorko for me from Brisbane. I think that's what Clarko thinks he can be, but the problem is like Zorko. He's got a lot more toe in him, and he can kick the ball 50 metres, hurt you from with long shots, and hits those flat 45-metre kicks where obviously Caleb can't kick more than sort of 35 metres. So, and Zorko's covered by a much better defensive system as well. So I think that probably doesn't help CD either.
Yeah, similar type of players, but very different as well. Zorko does pretty much everything a lot better than Caleb Daniel, but I can see the comparison there, that's for sure. Josh, we're going to go to the forward line. I'm going to talk to you about your mate, Cooper Trenbarth. No sighting against the Demons, and then comes on against the Pies in the second half. Makes an immediate impact with 2 goals and a nice goal assist. CCJ, named in the reserves yesterday. I actually don't think it was the day before, actually. I actually don't think he has been horrible in the pre-season, but looks like to me that he will get named round one, and that's Cooper Trenbarth. Otherwise, supporters like myself might ride if he doesn't get picked this week.
Yeah, us too.
I think everyone feels the same about that, Dean. Yeah, Cooper has to play. I just don't see a world. I unfortunately see a world, but I don't understand a world where he doesn't. He needs to be our backup ruckman. I mean, I've thrown this out a little bit on the pod, and I know other people have talked about it too, where I would nearly put Cooper in every single centre bounce. And then start Tristan in the forward line. And then if there's a stoppage, they can run and swap. And Tristan does every single ball up and throw in around the ground. But Tristan's been really, really concerning in the ruck for me. I know other people maybe aren't quite as concerned. And he's a fantastic player. And everything else about him is great. And I love what he does. But I'm a bit concerned. So I think Cooper's got to be in for that. CCJ is an interesting one. I mean, Clarko seems to really like him. I wouldn't have him in the squad personally, only because I think Cooper's been so good. But I don't know. CCJ was actually quite good in the ruck. When we went on that run in the third quarter against the Pies, CCJ was actually the ruckman the entire time.
No.
And he won us a lot of centre clearances. He took a couple of really good intercept marks on our forward 50 from their kickouts as well. I don't think that's quite enough to warrant his spot, especially after Trenbarth, and especially where I don't think he's that leaping ruckman that's going to be the complete opposite to Tristan Xerri, where I think Cooper can be. So I wouldn't have CCJ in the squad, even though I think we've written him off, even though I think his performances have been okay. He's got to earn it through the two. But Cooper absolutely has to play 100%. I will be... Arden Street will be burned to the ground, potentially.
Bailey, would you catch the ferry across from Tassie to Melbourne if Cooper Trenbarth isn't named this week?
I'll be storming the gates, the non-existent gates of Arden Street. In case, he just has to.
Sometimes
play,
some temporary fencing there. You can storm that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Just on that. Bailey. I think Josh made some good points about CCJ. I don't think he's been horrible, but he's the type of player that probably needs to earn his spot in the twos, like Josh pretty much effectively said. Because even in pre-season, I think he was out for 46 weeks with a calf injury, and they seem to have rushed him back. Doesn't seem to make much sense, unless they really want to make this overpay they paid for him 5 years ago, really want to give it a chance to make it work.
He's on cheap money now, Dean, because he signed the extension. So that's
he'd be on a rookie contract now.
That's as old as Polex deal. It's fine.
Yeah, I thought the big zombie CCJ did some nice things when he was on in the centre bounce and made a relative impact. But we've seen already the trend sort of bucked. Teams who played the second ruck, the primary second ruck on the weekend, got exposed as teams played with more leg speed or holding certain half forwards back to come on and make an impact. So I don't think we can play two rucks, and CCJ is not a forward either. So I think it's X, and then Cooper Trenbarth spending some time in there as well when big fella needs a spell.
And the good thing about Cooper Trenbath, if an injury goes down the back line, he could play in the back line as well. That's when we recruited him, they played him in the back line for the first 4 weeks in the VFL, and then they put him up forward, and he's been dominant ever since. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Josh, what about the Smalls? Doveston looks very good. He'll debut this week. But Constanti played well last week, but in the words of the great Dennis Comini, rest in peace, he hasn't kicked a goal since the motor vehicle was invented. He can't hit the scoreboard, Josh.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, at the game, we were right behind. His shots were basically where Paul Curtis's shot was, right at the end of the second quarter. We were right behind him with goals directly in front of us, and we said, "I can promise you, this is a point. There is no chance this goes through the goals," which does suck because his pressure around the ground was unbelievable, especially him pushing off half forward into the midfield. And I think he's a massive reason why we got back in that game, because his pressure around the ground to cause stoppage, that's something I was super impressed with in that game, was our ability to not let the Pies transition easily. And they broke like they're always going to, because it's Collingwood. Regardless of the missing players, the system is there. And I always think the system is more important than the actual individuals. That's why Collingwood, even when they do lose some players, are still really good. But Constanti did so many good things. His willingness to hunt the football is fantastic. I think him and Doveston could be a really good pairing up there. I think Constanti plays round one, and I would play him personally, but I would maybe use him more as a half forward that pushes into the midfield and just causes some chaos. I would also love to see him as a little tag. If we needed to tag a Bobby Hill, I guess he doesn't play anymore, does he? But any of those, a Cameron, some of those small forwards, I think he's probably the best equipped in the team to just say, follow him around and don't let him touch the football. And if he does, you drag him to the ground. And yep, if he actually got the ball, it's going to be a nightmare because then he's got to dispose of it. But I don't know. I think he's got a role to play in this team. I think Doveston can offset his flaws as well. So there could be a nice little 1-2, because if we don't have him around half forward, the transition off our half forward line could be really poor. So I think he's probably the best to stop that, which he did really well last year. But yeah, you're right. His kicking is rubbish, to be honest.
Well, he didn't make a distance from about 25 metres out. I think it was the last.
No,
quarter.
I mean, the wind was like, I can't even state how bad the wind was up there, but there's no excuse. Like, the ball was going to miss, probably would have just missed to the right. But because of the wind, a bad kick made to look even worse, to be honest. But actually, this comment has just popped up here was exactly what I was going to say as well, is, you know, I would want a Constanti tagging a Butters off halfback, or if a Josh Dacos is there. I think that's a perfect role. I think we have to utilise tagging more on our end, so he would be perfect for that.
Well, it's kind of Rosie plays on a halfback, flank.
Whichever they want. JK will be
well,
there.
I wouldn't put Darcy Tucker on him. But,
Mid-season draft is only a few months away, Dean. I hope you know that.
Yes, looking forward to it. We might have a top 5 pick there too. So yeah, we'll see if we can find another Cooper Trenbath, Josh. That'll be ideal.
Then push to the wild card and win the granny. Sounds good.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. That's good tactics. I like to think in there.
It's mind
Josh.
games.
Yeah, and you'll miss that grand final because you'll be in Japan. So yeah,
no, I'm back for the grand final. I booked it before the grand final.
Yeah, just to let all the listeners know that Josh had no faith in the team this year, and he booked a trip to Japan during September. So,
well,
I don't blame him.
I strategically left the wild card round free in case we make that, and I did book refundable flights. If we did make a final, I've told my lovely partner Daniela this, that there is a high chance that they will be rescheduled if we did make a final. Now, look, I think I'm pretty safe with the trip I've booked. It was about $400 cheaper to go in September, so it did sway me. But I'll be there for the wild card if we make it, and if we did make a final, hey, refundable flights. Flight Centre, you'll be hearing from me.
Well, that sounds good, Josh. Good thinking, mate. Yeah, you've thought that through.
I've thought about this, Dean.
I think you've thought about it far too much, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't have thought
I'm the
about
most
that
positive
much.
one here, so I've got this is the life I live.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Well done, Josh. That's why they pay you the big bucks to do the Further North podcast, where you pay yourself. Bailey, are you as high? Are you as high on Constanti? Look, I think he does play a role, and he did some really good things, like Josh said last week. He did come in the centre square a couple of times and did some bone-crunching tackles, which I really like. I'm a little bit high on Zach Fisher because he's got a bit more pace.
Settle down, Dean.
I'd have him ahead of Costanti because at least he kind of knows where the goals are. You won't kick him through there, but he kind of knows where they are. They might go through for a point, but what's your thoughts on Costanti? I guess.
Well, you got me excited there, Dean, because you said Zach, and I thought, my man, you're talking about him, bang a bench, and then you went with Fisher. So
He's a good guy, Zach Beach. Yeah.
No, bang a bench. I've got him. I'd play him above Fisher and Constanti. I don't know why we've suddenly just abandoned him. I loved what he brought. Should have got robbed of Mark of the Year last year. And then that game against Adelaide, hitting those wings, taking a bounce. He's a good user. He knows where the goals are. Don't want to discount what JK did last week, but he also had 23 games last year where he butchered it. Good pressures, that's fantastic, but today's footy's so reliant on precision use. So I would have liked Banger to get at least one game in the preseason, but yeah, he's a smoky for me as someone I like to sort of play in that role. And good kick, he's fast, and he knows where the goals are, as we saw in his VFL days, and more exposure in the ones. And I think he can really fit that role and make a little dynamic duo with Lockie Doveston.
He's almost a forgotten man, isn't he? No one's really talked about Zach Bench, and like you said, he hasn't done anything wrong. So
he played with broken ribs last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Well, when he took that mark, he might have been broken or bruised. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it was quite a painful injury. And yeah, I agree with you. Look, he plays a game of instinct, which I kind of like those players like him, Cooper Harvey. They don't think about the game too much. They just play on instinct, and I kind of like those players rather than the overthinkers. Look.
On JK, I hear a lot. We get a lot of comments about him playing down back as well, which in theory is good, but I'm not sure you can have him, Logue, Comben, and Pink as 4 users out of the back line and be all the team will have to do is send a tag to McKercher and we're in big
just
trouble.
torps.
So yeah, big concerns there, and from me.
Enough. Yeah, a few little ones, but there seems to be a lot of concerns at the moment. But let's go to the coach and Alistair Clarkson, Josh. He hasn't filled me with the biggest bunch of confidence I've ever had in my life. He seems to be backtracking from aiming to make finals to almost saying it may take us 10 years in the matter of weeks. It doesn't matter, we'll get there sort of thing. It seems to be that message. Now, you seem to be confident in him. I feel like you're confident in him that he can turn his club around this year and we can be quite competitive and push for that wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect wild card at all, really. I think if everything clicked, we can do it, but I don't think we do. I think we finish. I tipped us 13th on the ladder, right? So I don't think we make wild card, but I just think sometimes he cops a lot of residual. North have been bad for 8 years, so sack Clarko, and he's only coached 2 seasons. I don't really understand it. I've always been of the opinion that this is going to take longer than maybe what we hope. I don't think. Go and look at the first ever team that he put out when he started as coach. It's abysmal. You know, there's none of the core players that we get excited about there. In a couple of 3 seasons, coach 2. I guess he's been there for 3. You know, geez, the players he's brought in and drafted. I know it's not only him. It's your favourite man, Brady Rawlings, Dean, who you're high on. But they've brought some absolute gun talents into this club, and then our entire core is kids, basically, still. And I just don't think it's going to pop anywhere near as quick. We keep getting compared to Hawthorn. We're not Hawthorn. It's just not going to happen. We're Melbourne, we're Richmond, we're Brisbane, where they were 10 years ago. We've been one of the worst teams of the modern era, and we've got to accept that and understand it's going to take longer than maybe we would want. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been waiting for wins for a long time. I didn't see a win in person for 6 years. I was pissed off. Last year gave me a little bit more. I went to 3 or 4 wins last year for us, which was a big improvement. But I just think, which is good for us, yeah. I just think the media's been out for this guy from day one, and I don't think North is a better team next year if we sack him. If for any reason we're 1-5 or whatever at the start of the year and we sack him, North Melbourne is not a better football club with him gone. The thing, you've got to build it off the field before you build it on the field. He's re-signed everyone we care about. He's re-signed our guns now. He's re-signed our future guns. We've only lost Ben Mackay, really, across his journey. They've clearly bought into something which they didn't under Shaw. They didn't definitely not under David Noble. I just don't think you throw all that away just yet. I really think it's media pressure and them wanting to get a story, because realistically, the only way anyone outside of the North Melbourne Football Club fans has any sort of opinion on us is what SEN say, or is what 3AW say, or Triple M. So, give him a little bit, I think we need to give him a little bit more time, and we'll see. Let's judge it after 6 rounds. But even then, I just don't see the benefit for the football club in sacking him unless you've lined up Longmuir or potentially Simpson. But geez, he was rubbish at the end of his tenure as well, even though he's won a flag, but Clarko won 4. So I don't know. So unless you got Longmuir lined up, I'd be keeping him on. I think it's all media hearsay, trying to get a story, and Kane and Caro have been trying to sack him from day one, to be honest. So good on him.
Are you talking about Justin Longmuir or John Longmire?
I'll take your pick, to be honest. anyone with yeah. No, I can't. Why do they call them the same sort of name? I think one of them has to change their name. Honestly, that's the petition we'll start on the podcast this year.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, what's this Justin Longmuir? What are we getting in for? I got him.
My bad, John Longmire. Yeah, you know what? Well, you know what I meant.
Longmuir can't do much with Freo. How would he go with our list?
No. I mean, they're going to win the flag apparently, and they got bashed by the Gold Coast on their home turf. So we'll see. I know if we did that, Clarko would be getting drawn and quartered in the streets. So he gets a little bit more of a pass because no one cares about Freo, though.
Well, maybe some people in Fremantle might care, but yeah.
That's cute.
That's it. Now, Bailey, just on Clarkson, and Josh is sort of saying the media are piling the pressure on him. If we have another 3 or 4 win season, do you think he goes into next year? Because with the pressure that's going to come through it, even supporters are probably at their wits' end right now. Do you think another subpar season he would get another year?
I think he will. The contract's a big thing. Look, if he was coaching on $400,000, the pressure would be right up. But the over $1 million, big hit to the soft cap. So, just on Clarko, the messaging is just what's frustrating supporters at the moment. So they come out, Colby McKercher in November's talking about finals. It's the first time it's been acknowledged at the club in a long time. People are getting excited. Then Clarko's on Channel 7 saying, they brought the wild card in for us. And now he's at the point where he's saying this could take 10 years and I'm okay with that, basically. I'll be here for it. Well, I can tell you right now that the people aren't. They're fed up. We've sat through our fair share of losing. So I suppose the messaging coming out, supporters would hope would be a bit more adamant on success needing to happen straight away. Like, we understand where we're going through a rebuild, but I suppose the hunger to get there as fast as possible. And the Big Chief made a good point on our pod yesterday. Like, you wouldn't hear this messaging from Clarko 15 years ago when he was at Hawthorn. Like, that ruthless, you're either doing what you need to do to get there or you get out of the club. So, I suppose the messaging, like, obviously, whether that's happening inside the 4 walls, I don't know. I'm not there. But, it's almost like it's giving a little out if we don't have the progress that we'd want to see. So I think the pressure will certainly mount. That first 6 weeks has been highlighted by just about everyone in the football world as needing to start well. And if we are to have a 3 or 4 win season, as you mentioned, Dean, there'll be definitely at least a board meeting about what the future looks like.
Sometimes, really quickly, guys, sorry, I think Clarkson just waffles to the media because it's such a different media landscape right now than what it was 15 years ago. And I completely agree with you about it. I think old Clarko would have just put the hammer down and said, this is what we're doing, this is it, and deal with it. But you saw him when he sort of brought a little bit of that old Clarko at the start. The media absolutely crucify him, and then he sort of goes to this softer side. Now they're saying he's not hard enough. Sometimes I just think he waffles whatever he wants to the media because he doesn't really care about it, and regardless of what he says, they're just going to make a meal of it regardless. I would hope that internally he's got that older Clarkson, this is what we're going to be doing. I don't know how seriously I take the things he says. He's not saying them directly to us. He's always talking to a reporter. So I'd be really interested to be a fly on the wall inside of the club, because I'm really, really hoping it's different messaging. Because I agree, like on the surface, they're flip-flopping a bit, but I reckon it's just the media landscape. I reckon, and Clarkson especially hates them, I reckon they just give him nothing and they're just saying random crap, to be honest. But I really hope within 4 walls it's a little bit of old Clarko.
Yeah, it's frustrating for interstate fans like myself, because the media is the main avenue we have to the club. Like, we can't pop along to training and get a word out of the boys or out of the coaching staff. So I suppose that's the sort of frustrations that we hold, that's our main way of hearing from the club and hearing from Clarko, and then sort of that wish-washy message is really frustrating when we're
That's fair.
Yes.
One of the examples here is, so I was sitting right next to where Clarkson was walking up and down. The media really went on about him walking up and down like he didn't know what to do, and that was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my entire life. Clarkson walked, I was 2 seats away from him. He walked down the same minute mark of every single quarter, and he watched what was going on upstairs. He walked down. He was smiling at the fans. He looked fine, and then he went down onto the bench and gave instructions. But the way the media took that was Clarkson's confused. He doesn't know if he wants to be in the box, wants to not. And I never took it like that at the game at all. He said hello to a couple of people when he was walking past us. People said, "Yeah, come on, Clarko," and he gave him a thumbs up. Like, I think what the media try and put, and I completely get it, because I was in Tassie for 20 years, right? So that's all I ever got, and definitely coming up here and being able to go to some trainings, it feels different. But I just think the media have shaped him so differently for what we see, and that's not fair on us, because we've had to sit through garbage for years and years and years, and we're fans that deserve better than what we're getting. But I've got to have that belief and that faith that internally he's won 4 flags. I don't think internally it's going to be anywhere near what we're getting on the outside. No, I blame the media for that, because it's all clickbait. It's all about headlines, wild predictions, hot takes. There's no actual journalism in these guys anymore. So, I just wouldn't believe, not saying you do, but just as a general thing here, I just wouldn't believe too much of what the media say and present to us, because the only way to get a story out of us is negativity.
Yeah, it's almost like a bunch of Stephen A. Smiths, just not going through any facts or anything like that, just trying to get a click here and there. So, yeah, it's a fair point there, Josh. And I think he has half an idea of what he's doing, even though, like, he might be getting a little
flags,
bit older.
Mate. It can't be that bad. Like, I understand it, maybe we're not going to be Hawthorn and win 4 of them, but I don't know. I just don't think you just completely lose it. Maybe he's not as up with the modern game, but that's why Little John came in, and that's why he's got the same support staff around him. The talent we've brought in since he's been there has been incredible. She's was going to captain this club and be one of our greatest ever players. We're hoping it's looking like it. We've got Merchers and O'Sullivans and Trembus now and that sort of stuff. And I don't know. This group, this core that we love, has only been together for a couple of years max. And they all seem to buy into something he's saying. If internally the club was as wishy-washy as what's coming out in the media, Larky doesn't commit to us after a 71-goal season. LDU, the Hawks would have done anything for LDU, right? They would have talked to him. They needed a midfielder. These players, we all thought Zerha was gone, and he committed. Sherry's one of the best rucks in the comp. He committed to us, and then you signed up Sheezer till 2030 and stuff. I just don't think, if it was internally as all over the place as what we sometimes get through the media, not directly from the club, I just don't think those really good players that other clubs would be after would be so committed, and it feels like they're bought into something.
Yeah, no, fair point there, Josh. No, we don't generally lose players. We've always had a good culture for going back 35 years, really. So we've always seemed to keep players that we wanted to keep. Not much you can do about someone like Jason Ward-Francis.
I'll take Ward any day.
That's it. Well, we're going to have to now. So
got a choice. He's not going to play against him anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, that's right. So he's probably one of the rare cases, but he is a bit of a head case anyway. So, it's not a bad thing getting him out of the club. So, so it's a fair point. Generally, we keep players that we want to keep. But we'll move forward. I know, Josh, you're getting a bit short on time. So we'll go to season predictions from you guys. Now, I'll get yours here, Bailey. Josh, you mentioned the first 6 rounds and how important they are with the easy draw. What are your expectations going into the season, Bailey?
In terms of wins?
Yeah, go for wins, ladder position, flag.
Well, I've been fairly optimistic. We did our crystal ball ladder predictions, and I had us sneaking into 10th. So that's a fair amount of optimism, as you're right to have this time of year. Whether that's attainable, probably not. But
See, I feel like I've been the most optimistic, and I've got us lowest on the ladder for the tip.
Yeah, you got 13th.
It's wild.
Yeah, I'm going to go 10th. I could see us climbing to 10, 11 wins. The system's the big thing. Like we know the firepower we have forward of the footy. We've got an elite forward line. We've got a midfield who, on that day, could dominate. So if we can restrict repeat inside 50s and really hone down on the defence, I could see the jump being quick. Or if we're going to let teams transition and put 130 points on us, then it's a 3-win season. So it's as simple as that. But yeah, I'm fairly optimistic that the time is now. I'm hoping anyway, more sort of out of desperation than anything. But yeah, I'm fairly optimistic. If you had have asked me 2 or 3 months ago, Dean, before the sort of fallout of the preseason, there would have been a lot higher amount of optimism. But I'm trying to put that out of my head when I've done these predictions, and it's sort of focus on the positives and the rise that we realistically can probably have.
A hypothetical for you, Bailey, quickly. If we beat Port, does that change your optimism for the season?
I think we should beat Port. I've tipped us. I think 4-2 after 6 weeks, and who knows what we can achieve. The thing about winning in footy is it's addictive, and a bit of belief into the group. If they can start well, then I hate the fact that Clarko compares us to Brisbane and Hawthorn in the past, and I don't think we'll spike like that. But we see quite often teams from the bottom 4 will spike, and particularly with the percentage, there's some weird stat that if over 75% like ours was last year. So yeah, I could certainly see it, but whether it comes to fruition is a whole different question.
Look, yeah, we'll certainly know a lot more after the first 6 rounds, that's for sure. Josh, you said 13th. How many wins is that roughly? About 7 to 8?
Yeah, 12th, 13th for me. I think we can get 9 or 10 wins, absolutely. I think the ladder's going to be incredibly competitive. The Blues are going to be the same. I'm trying to think about who drops. The D's are probably the only team for me that drops off from last year. I don't think Port's going to be as bad as people think. Their midfield is sort of too strong. I think their defence is good enough. But I think they'll be meandering around that St Kilda zone of mediocrity. So, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe 9 or 10 wins will get you maybe a 12th-ish this year, because I just don't see which teams are going to drop off.
We'll fly past Essendon as well. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, the problem is they play good at the start of the season, and then they drop off halfway through. So I need them to drop off now, which would be good. But, I mean, the Hawks looked awful against a very undermanned Giants, so we'll see if they can bounce back and smash the Bombers. But I don't want the Bombers to get too up and about and get over the Hawks for us in round 3. But yeah, we'll see. I think maybe not. I would expect 9 or 10 wins. It would be a pass for me, but I wouldn't be overly stoked. It needs to be 9 or 10 with our easy draw, with 2 against Richmond, 2 against Essendon, 2 against West Coast, and 2 against Port, I think, as well. Still with the Blues to play, still with the D's to play. There's your wins, and then can you grab a Saints, a Giants, who knows who's going to be there, but can you nab another 1 or 2 from that? So I think we need 9 or 10 is a tick, 8 is a pass, but I think we maybe should have done a little bit more. Ladder position, I'm honestly not as fussed about, only because you can't really control that. You can only win games. It's not up to us if the D's are better than we thought, or the Blues somehow are better than we thought, and that pushes us down a spot. We can't really control that. I think if we get more wins, it's like last year, right? We basically doubled the wins of the year before, and we remained in a pretty similar position. But what can we do about that? That we won more games. That's all we could do. So that's kind of how I feel this year as well. I'm not as fussed on ladder. If we get 9 or 10 wins and we're 13th, we still got 9 or 10 wins, which is a big jump from last year, and it shows our group's moving in the right direction.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, you get teams like Richmond might win 2 or 3 games. I don't know. I think they'll improve, but if they win 2 or 3 games, you get West Coast win 1 or 2 games. All of a sudden, you need 14 games to finish top 8 or top 10 or whatever it is. So, yeah, like you sort of said, ladder position's not too important. It's probably about getting the results at the end of the day.
The ladder position will come with the wins.
No, that's right. Exactly right. Bailey, best and fairest winner this year.
Look, I was thinking, do I come on with a hot take? But you just got to take it, man, don't you? Harry Sheezel. But I could see a world. I could see. I think Colby McKercher on my pod. I picked him to finish second. I could see him easily winning it. And then Nick Larkey's a bit of a smoky, but the the forwards have to do a fair bit to win best and fairest.
Josh, what about yourself?
Colby was my prediction. I'm a massive Colby McKercher fan. I was his biggest fan last year, and I will continue to be his biggest fan this year. I don't know, a slightly smokier one. I don't know. I don't think there is any smokies for us, to be honest. The quality difference is a little bit too big. But Sheasel and LDU could have a massive year as well. But I'll go Kirch as well. I picked him on my pod as well, and I love him. I think that halfback role, you know, especially if we can keep a McDonald and you get a go to Fed or Hardiman's there, his ability, along with, I think it would help Daniel as well, but like, I think Colby's ability to run off halfback and be attacking with those guys being fit and staying behind him could mean he does a lot of good things this year.
What about a smoky for a top 5, Bailey? Have you got an outsider that might have a really big year? I mean, there might be just someone that that's probably a fringe player that might get in the top 5 this year.
Oh, I don't know whether he's a fringe player, but like big Griff Logue. Could we say him?
That's what I've got. Yeah.
Well, if you go on him, I'll go.
No.
My man.
All good.
I'm big on my man Cam as well, Cam Zerha, so we'll go him.
Nice.
As a bit of a swing man as well this year.
There's rumours that he might spend end of quarters in the back line as playing as a spare. So we'll have to wait and see. They did it against Melbourne the last quarter. I think they'd given up.
They did against the Pies too.
Yeah, he did really well against the Pies. He just hit the
packs hard.
Small tap in, and he just sort of bodied it, got the ball, and took another stoppage. So really like that from Clarko.
Yeah, we've been prone to red time goals a lot in the last few years. So, yeah, there might be a tactic they use a fair bit this year. Josh, what about yourself? Anyone different there outside of Griffin Logue, Cameron Zerha?
Give me Caleb Daniel. Give me Caleb Daniel.
Well, he came 6th last year, didn't he?
He came 6th last year. I genuinely believe with Caleb Daniel that if he's got a consistent defense behind him, if McDonald and, you know, the first half of the year, Hardiman and Blamires or a Goda can be there with a Griff Logue now that wasn't there for a lot of last year, if you can get an actual defense behind him and, like Bailey said, let him run off halfback and not have to worry about the defensive stuff, I think he can be a super damaging player. Every game, like that Richmond game that was down in Tassie, he was one of our best players off halfback because our defense was humming, the Tigers weren't on top, and when he got to run through the middle of the ground, geez, he's good. I like him. So genuinely, I know we're sort of bantering a bit, but give me a smoky Caleb Daniel top 5, because if we can get that defense to be consistently fit and he doesn't have to worry about the defensive stuff, he can be one of our better users.
Oh, fair enough. Most improved, Bailey.
Most improved.
Well, you might have said Griffin Logue. So
that might be Griff. That might be Griff. I'm going to go Charlie Comben. I think he could really assert himself as one of the premier intercept defenders. We know he's a good player, but I think by the end of the season he can be a great player.
Oh, good one. Good call. Josh?
Oh, I'm just trying to think. Who could it be?
Caleb Daniel again?
Caleb Daniel, yeah. It depends how bad you thought he was. I don't know. Most improved, it's too easy to go like some of the young guys. I mean, Finn O'Sullivan, but I don't think that's a hot enough take for the pod. Give me Dylan Stevens. Goes to another level.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, well, he's certainly got potential.
One of the best kicks in the team. Like I always said, if he can get the ball, he's one of the better users, and he's not scared of tackling or getting tackled anymore. He put his head over the footy so much in that Pies game, and he did last year as well. So, you know, I think there's lots of football to be had from him, especially if we are flooding the back line, trying to move it forward with possession. He's a massive part of that. So, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't think he's going to jump into one of our top 10, 15 players necessarily, but, you know, I think he earns people's respect this year.
Oh, fair enough. He's very fit. He's always first in the time trial. So, yeah. Hopefully, he can take another step.
I think there's been a lot of players that we've hated that have been good in the time trial scene.
Yeah, Darcy Tucker. No, one of them.
Like Bailey Scott.
Yeah,
Bailey Scott's always up there. Yeah,
Bailey Scott 100%. Could be a most impressive. I don't know what to expect from Bailey Scott. I'm like, can you really lose how good and consistent you were just in 1 year and it's just gone forever? Or does he find it again? I don't know. I don't know if I write him off or not. I don't think he's playing round 1 though, so.
No, one of the most bizarre drop-offs in form in the space of 12 months I've seen in a long time, that's for sure. Leading goal kicker, Bailey.
Oh, it's hard to go past Nick Larkey. So I'll take the low-hanging fruit and go with the big Suf. I think he'll kick
Yeah, fair
60
enough.
plus.
Yeah, I think.
There you go, Dean. I'll put a number on it.
How much? 60 plus, did you say?
60 plus.
Yeah, 60 plus. I like it. Josh, anything different there?
I mean, no, but I don't know. We did a top 5 at the live show of who we're going to think, because it was too easy to just pick Suv. So I think I'll go my top 5 with Larky, Curtis, Zerha, and then I think Trembath 4 and Darling 5. But I'd love the Dove to be in there too. Maybe the Dove over Darling. I don't know. I love them all.
Okay. I might have Zach Fisher in the top 5 there, Josh. So
I don't mind your Zach Fisher take there. I actually got on the pod and said a similar thing once where I'm like, if you can get him away from danger, he's quick, he's decent at ground level, and he's got a good left foot on him. I could see a world, but I guess we've got Spargo, who probably never going to play. Does Daniel move to that half forward role? If Daniel's kicking into the 50, I'm pretty happy with that. So who knows? That's the biggest hole in the team, even though we just fill it with whatever midfielder is there, to be fair.
You're really going Dutch rudder on Caleb Daniel tonight, Josh. So, yeah, well,
the helmet, mate.
Best first-year player, Bailey.
Well, I've just checked Sportsbet, and Caleb Daniels come into about $3 for the Brownlow.
Yeah.
Get on that early, I reckon.
What was the question? Sorry.
Sorry, I can't remember. Best first-year player.
Oh, it's hard. I'm getting a few easy half volleys here, but yeah, the Dove, Lockie Doverston.
Oh, you're always taking mine, Bailey. What's going on?
We got Paul Myers. He looked pretty good, so I'm probably going to go him.
Do we have any more first-year players?
Blake Threadgold.
Yeah, Mukunda. A big Mukunda sesh off the
go,
half-back
Mukunda.
line would be okay. I think it will be the Dove. A question leading on from your pick there, Dean, because this is something that I've got one spot in my best 22 that I'm going to post for. Like, who would you? I know who all the fans will say, but I think we need to think about this. Would you pick Blamires or McDonald to start against the Power? Because Blamires' game was fantastic, but what are the chances he replicates that? Or you've got someone who's more seasoned and you sort of know what you're going to get, but does he have the potential of a Blamires, especially for round 1? So what would you both pick?
Well, I think Blamires is more match fit than McDonald. McDonald hasn't had really a pre-season, so I'd probably go.
Apparently
with the
played
guy.
pretty well in the VFL game though.
Yeah, he was good. He was solid for 3 quarters, but
He only
it was
played
rested
3,
last. Yeah, he didn't play last quarter, so I don't think he's fully fit, and I'd rather just go to the player that's got a little bit of fitness and a little bit of match fitness. And he was pretty good last week.
Yeah, it was
so
great. Yeah.
Why not just roll with it? And if it doesn't work out, you can just get Luke McDonald back in for round 2, where he's more match fit and match hardened. So, yeah. What about yourself, Bailey? Anything different there?
Look, without looking at Josh's best 23, I'd probably pick both, to be honest. I think the matchup of Jason Horne-Francis, round 1, he's got a foot issue. He's going to be playing primarily forward. That matchup we went
Jerry
through
stomps on him.
on my pod last night. So difficult to match up on. So I think Blamires might have to play a bit of time on Jason, and a mix of Hardiman and potentially McDonald as well. But he's just
Can Stanty tag on Jason Horne-Francis?
Oh, he'd monster him. He'd take him to the square and push him down, and it's a nightmare matchup, and it's the one that sort of I reckon it's got the coaching staff most worried. Like Big Griff, he might go to Georgiades and do a good job there, but the Horne-Francis matchup with his pace as well as his big frame, sort of Dangerfield-like, it's going to be really tough to match up on.
Yeah, the thing with Horne-Francis, you don't know what you're going to get. He may be best on ground, get 25 touches, kick 4 goals, or he may get 8 touches and do nothing. I think he's got that personality where he's going to waste his potential through his poor attitude. Look, there's going to be some really good games, but there's going to be games where he's going to cost you finals as well. So, yeah, which is not a bad thing because, he's a bit of a sook. But
he kept kicking it out of bounds when they made the prelim and lost it. He was awful for that game. The amount of times he went through the middle and hoofed the thing and went out of bounds on the wing, basically. You're just like, geez, he's got a shocking foot on him.
I think we taught him that. So
good. It's all the plan when we meet him in the granny. He's going to spew all his kicks. David Noble was a genius.
I couldn't give a stuff what he does for the rest of the year as long as we keep him quiet on Sunday.
It'd be nice. That's it. All right, boys. We're going to get you plug your work. Bailey, where can people find you and your work?
You can find us on all good podcast platforms, and we are now this year on YouTube doing video pods. So subscribe there, and to the other two lads as well. That's where you can find us, and across social media we do listener Q&As as well. So get your questions in.
Nice. That's the Shinboners podcast. Josh,
probably
what about
should have
yourself?
said
Yeah. What's the name of it, mate?
Yeah, that always helps. But I've plugged it for you there, Bailey. So all
thanks,
good, mate.
Dean's doing
Good,
heavy
mate.
lifting here.
Yeah. What about yourself, Josh?
Further North is the name of that, Dean, just in case anyone doesn't know. YouTube is probably the biggest platform at the moment. Please subscribe over there. It helps the channel out. Spotify and Apple, you can find it for just the podcast audio listeners. And then social media, Instagram and Facebook. We don't do X or Twitter around here. It scares me, to be honest. So Facebook and Instagram, get over there, Further North and Further North Pod. We sometimes do Q&As and try and get fan interaction, that sort of stuff. So if you want to be part of the pod, that's where to go.
No, I think you've been off X for about 12 months, haven't you, or something like that? So
it's just rubbish, man. I never had it, and I made it just for the pod, and then I'm like, I don't know how this works at all. So, I think I went on Kanga TV with Marnie recently, and she said my Facebook game is fantastic because I'm a product of my generation. 2008 high school was me just on my flip phone trying to play Farmville and all that rubbish. But she's good on X and Twitter, so she's got that covered. Between the both of us, we're pretty good at social media.
Yeah. No, she's very good with the socials and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm just not up to date with that sort of stuff. It can be a very negative space too, X. So I don't go on it too much these days. But with these boys, I definitely recommend give it a listen, subscribe to their work. I did a chat GPT and I'm obsessed with that at the moment, boys. So I put in what are the best North Melbourne podcasts, and Chat GPT gave us all good reviews. But said if I had to pick one to listen to, it would be In Clarko We Trust podcast. So we have to lift our game, boys, lift our standards.
They did have Suv on, I guess, so Trembath isn't there yet.
Yeah, no, that's right. So, but I'm off the belief that it may take me 10 years like Clarko. I'll get there. So, but I know you're short on time, Josh. I think you pretty much got to go on your podcast.
No, that's fine.
Man.
It got delayed by 10 minutes, so it's fine.
Oh, beautiful. Even better. Oh, we can sit back and relax. Bailey, thanks so much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, listen to his work. He's always got the Chief on. Chief goes on the big rants, and Bailey's trying to control him. But, it's all in good fun. So, thanks so much for coming on tonight, Bailey. And I'm sure we'll chat during the course of the year as well, probably in the mid-season bye time, and hopefully we're about 6-6 at least.
Oh, it'll be positive. We'll be talking finals, no doubt, Dane. But thanks for your continued great work and for having me on. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks, Bailey. Josh, always a pleasure, mate. Hopefully we're talking finals in the mid-season bye, and you've cancelled your flight to Japan and thinking, no, I'm buying me finals tickets, grand final tickets, Premiership Cup medallion, get me Premiership tattoo and all that sort of fun stuff, Josh.
I can fly in and out for the game, Dean. I think hopefully the pod's big enough to get me a chopper or a Learjet or something like that. So, let's see if I can pull some strings for that. But thank you for having me on. It's always fun to come on the Podfathers podcast. Dean, you do great work. And look, finals, here we come.
Nah, sounds good, boys. But Bailey, thanks so much for coming on once again. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll definitely chat soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dane.
Josh, always a pleasure, mate, like I sort of said. And we'll chat soon as well.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Like, subscribe. Thank these boys for coming on. Give their show a listen. Make sure to do that. Do all that fun stuff. Give them comments. Tell Josh that he's talking too much about Caleb Daniel and he's too high on him.
Top 5 BNF, you heard it here first.
I think he's 6th last year, so it's not a very high
one
bar.
more spot. It's fine.
Yeah, that's it. I think he'll get there too.
You're pushing Tommy Powell out of the top 5, Josh.
If Tom Powell gets a game, mate, let's see. I'm joking.
All right, we got to go here, boys. Josh is, as we've lost listeners, we've gone down from 100 live to about 3 now. So, there are going to be people going in his DMs. Anyways, I'll be back on Thursday to go through team news. So look out for that.